Here are a few things that you should know this week, May the 12th, 2025, regarding the real estate market. So, hey everyone, my name is Rain Yuri, but I go by Rainy like a rainy day, and I'm a realtor, mortgage loan originator, a HUD counselor, as well as a credit restoration specialist, which means that I work and deal with all things real estate. Now, this week, as always, we're going to start off with the interest rate. So, coming in for the 30-year fix for conventional, we are at 6.92%. However, last week it started out at 6.90. For FHA, we're at 6.27. This is a little different from conventional because conventional started out a little higher last week at 6.29, as well as with VA, we're coming in at 6.26. This week, last week, we're at 6.30. So looking at the numbers, there is a slight increase for conventional. However, there's a decrease for FHA and the VA loans. Now remember, your particular interest rate is going to be determined on your various factors of your portfolio, such as your credit score, your debt to income. And so if you want to know any of those or how to actually do your debt to income, stay tuned. I'm actually going to walk you through that, okay? So next up on the list, is this a good time for you to buy or sell your home? That is one of the top questions that I usually get frequently outside of what the interest rate is. So again, it actually depends on your financial ability. I will tell you that because we're actually in the month of May, and we all know that this is the time where a lot of graduations are taking places, school is getting out. This is the time that I have seen during my experience that the housing market traditionally has a shift with a lot more transactions. Even though transactions are being done every day, during the summertime, we usually see a lot of more transactions because, again, kids are out of school, families want to get settled in before the new year starts in. So again, this is a perfect time. So if you are looking to buy and or sell in the Tampa Bay area, or better yet, anywhere, please feel free to send me a DM. Would love to assist you on that journey. And I'm actually going to take a quick moment to walk you through a general way how you can actually determine what your DTI is. So this is one of the debt to income calculators that I use, as well as that I share with my real estate clients. So again, your debt to income is exactly that, your debt compared to what your actual interest rate is. And so for this example, we're going to put the salary to, instead of the $6,400, let's do $5,400. We'll keep the pension and Social Security at 0, the investment at savings is at 0, other income at 0. But for the other debts and expenses, for the rental costs, let's say that with this particular client, for this example, that they have to pay $1,200 because they have a roommate, right? So we'll keep the $1,200 a month for that. We'll keep the mortgage, property taxes, HOA, and homeowners insurance at 0. For credit cards, let's say they have 3 credit cards, and we're going to say that their total monthly amount is $348, okay? For student loans, if you saw my previous video, you know that for FHA, that accounts for 0.5% of that loan. And if you have a conventional, it counts for 1%. But for this particular example, let's say we know exactly what their monthly amount is that they pay for student loan, and let's say that they have to pay $425. For an auto loan, we'll put that at 0. Let's say they paid off their car, so they don't have any payment with that. And for other loans and liabilities, such as a personal loan, like if you go to Renter Center, or if you go have any other type of furniture loan or something like that, those get counted as well. So for this particular example, we're going to keep it at 0, and then we're going to calculate. So the debt to income that's showing on this particular example is showing to be 44%. As you can see, there is a front end ratio and a back end ratio. That front end ratio is just based off the home debt to income itself versus the back end. That's all of your debts included. I love this site as well too, because again, it breaks it down regarding what your particular debt to income is. It kind of also shows you down here an explanation on what it is, why it's important, what that front end ratio is, what that back end ratio is, talks a little bit about affordability and what those DTI needs to be. I will also let you know too that sometimes, depending on the particular loan, you may be able to go over what their limits are. For example, on this FHA, limits are the 31 for the front end and 43 for the back. Sometimes we can go up a little bit higher with that. But again, if you're looking to buy and or sell, let me know. Let's have a conversation. Let's get you approved, and let's get you into your home. See you next time.